Welcome, fellow evildoers, to this Kickstarter preview of Villains and Henchmen from Ravendale Publishing.
Yes, this is a game that is fresh on Kickstarter right now at the time of our recording. Otherwise, maybe you can buy it elsewhere. But as you can see, it is laid out before us. It is a cooperative, for the most part, superhero-themed game in which you are, in fact, playing as the villains.
If the title did not give it away.
And you are trying to break out of a supervillain prison. And the game is about that process. And there is also a special best of MVP winner.
Which makes sense, because, we're villains, but
right.
Forget you, I want to be the one.
Yeah, there's, at some point you're going to betray each other for something.
So we should note, if it wasn't obvious, that this is a print-and-play prototype. Hence why some don't have pictures.
Yes, this is
so
not
do not
final.
think this is the final and be like, what a ripoff. No, this is...
Yeah, some of the cards do have artwork.
And very nice artwork.
And if you go to the Kickstarter page, I'm sure you'll see more stuff like that. So if you're familiar with something like Sentinels of the Multiverse, or I would say Legendary, this is certainly in that wheelhouse, although it is not a deck-building game, nor is it a pre-constructed deck game.
Though I definitely think it reminds me a lot of Sentinels in terms of the difficulty sometimes.
Yes, it's for a cooperative game, you want that challenge. That's definitely there. But the way it works is the way that you upgrade your character is you're actually buying new abilities each turn. So we kind of have half a game set up here. You can see I have duplication.
Right, and what can actually happen is you can buy a duplicate of the card, which actually unlocks a new level of it, which gives it a stronger power. So if you really focus, you can only have a total of 4 power cards out. So currently Jonathan has 3, even though he only has 2 powers.
Right, so you can sort of decide, do you want to specialize in certain areas, or do you want to go for more of a jack of all trades? Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then you have the heroes that come out each turn, which in this case are your enemies. There's also guards and obstacles, and they all can be defeated in different ways.
Right. Pretty much, we should also mention, you also start with the archetype, as Jonathan is the manipulator, of course.
I'm so manipulative.
Yes, and I am the cyborg because, he just looks awesome.
Yeah,
which will give you, in addition to more powers.
So there's a lot of, your basic turns are the same, but throughout, as the game continues, and even from the start with your archetypes, you're going to have very different options from your opponents / partners.
And pretty much the way the game works is we have the 3 decks, as you said, the hero, guards, and obstacles. Obstacles being more like your walls or security cameras, things like not actual people. And the way it works is you have to decide how you're going to deal with them, and each of them have different effects. As these guards, for example, when they come into play, will make you discard. Most of the cards will make you do that when they come into play. They also have things like maybe they take less damage every time you try to deal damage on them, meaning they take an extra hit each time. Some of the obstacles will make things like if you try to attack, they may spawn a hero into play, which is, we tried the first time we played this and it turned out to be horrific, because then all of a sudden the heroes just came running in to kill us.
Yeah, none of them are straightforward. It's not that they're not straightforward, but they all have wrinkles that make them more interesting.
And the way you attack, as you can see, this one has 2 cards. It's sort of called banking in this game, in which sort of you store up the attack, they have health, they die. Same thing goes for cards called defenses, which you can bank on your turn, and power surges, which is your money.
So this is I think another pretty interesting, unique mechanic for the game, so that you can kind of plan for future turns with these power surges, where if you don't have enough surges to get a new power, you can put them here and save up for later, because you redraw at the end of each turn to your max hand size. And then with the defenses, you use them for in-between turns when these guys are going to be hurting you.
Right. The defenses you can use, they pretty much cancel an effect that would target you. Or someone else. This is where I think the game works really well with the cooperative, but not really. I don't know if semi-cooperative, sort of.
That's a term.
In the way that, in my hand, for example, right now, I have a whole bunch of attack.
Right.
Now, I could deal a bunch of small damage to the guards, for example, but that would leave them open for you to claim for victory.
Right.
So, and same thing with defenses. So you can choose how cooperative each turn to bank with it, and I think it works very well in this game.
Yeah, and there's definitely, some turns you want to do that. I don't want to be that helpful, but some turns you'll say, well, I have a bunch of attacks, so let me do this, and you do that, because you're better.
Another interesting thing, which comes back to this effect, is the power deck. It's also sort of your timer. Should that run out, game over. Now, as we said earlier, Jonathan has 2 duplications. But if he doesn't buy it in time, you actually have to discard a power card, the last power card each turn, if nothing's bought. However, let's say I really wanted that high tech. I didn't want it to go away. I could pay a power surge to discard another card, such as teleportation, so Jonathan can't get 2 of those as well.
Right.
Which adds for a lot of great messing around or saving.
Right. It's one of those things where, like, if we're losing, you might want me to have that because that could be really helpful for the team. So it depends on how competitive / cooperative you want to take it.
So I think the banking somehow just works perfectly into giving that mechanic the feel that you'd expect from villains trying to break out. Another thing I also found funny with the powers, they are very nice because when we first saw teleportation hit the field, the first thing we were like, oh, should be able to use it to get past obstacles. Then we're like, rank 2, get past obstacles. We're like, oh.
The theme, it makes sense. It's pretty cool. Like duplicating, I actually get to, I do things twice.
The other thing is I want to pull out a specific one, for example, here, security cameras. So this is the one that annoyed us from popping up and making heroes pop out. However, you can either use 4 shields to beat it. I like the obstacles actually use different cards, not just fists, so you can
attack it like the standard
Or
way.
if you have specific powers, you can bypass it. In this case, light control because you blind the cameras, shapeshift so you disguise yourself going through, or weather control, you make it foggy, I guess.
Yeah, and I like that a lot because you can tell like they went through and they made sure, oh, well, why wouldn't this power be able to bypass that? It makes sense.
Which then why teleportation is like, why wouldn't it bypass anything? It just
right. So it's so good. And these are usually 1 use per turn. They get exhausted like a lot of card games do. This is also, the game is for 1 to 4 players, so you can solo it if you want, which works perfectly well.
Well, I think usually anything that's any form of cooperative
unless because there's no hidden information. It's not like Hanabi or something. You're all on the same page. So that's always a bonus in my book. And there's also more variation in terms of these settings, which are basically your scenario for the game.
Right. We currently are at the hero's headquarters.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad place to be for us. And then there's the event deck, which every turn something new happens and adds a wrinkle to your life.
I think another thing because we actually played wrong the first time we played it, and when we realized it turned out to be so helpful. The first round, hero abilities and events don't trigger, really giving you that time to ambush would actually make sense if you just broke out of prison and you're scaring everyone.
Yeah, it gives you a round to like, okay, let's survey what our field is like, amp up without just rushing at you and making you feel bad right out of the gate.
And I think that one turn, it doesn't seem like much, but the time when we realized it and went back and changed it, it made a huge difference for us.
Yeah, it definitely helped. It helps you not feel as powerless as at the start of the game.
Well, the superheroes, the puns are inevitable.
They really are. So,
we should mention another thing that was cool. We didn't realize it, too, because we're like, depending on your scenario, you actually have specific events that could happen. For example, if you're in space, the
stuff might happen in
like
space.
there could be a leak which causes issues and stuff.
Yeah, so wherever you're going,
did a good job with capturing the theme of the villains and stuff, and in a way which we should note, all you're drawing from your hand are 3 different kinds of cards. It's not thinking so complicated, at least what's in your hand.
It's really all where the extra stuff comes in is the powers, which because you're building it as you go, it's very easy to take in. You know who your character is as you're going along, and there's not a lot of, and everything's written on the cards.
Yeah.
So as well as your little player mat. So yeah, it's pretty easy to keep track of everything. Overall, I think it's a really neat game. The art is cool. The theme is cool.
No, I can't wait to see. I would love to see some more of the final art pieces, especially
because
I just feel like I got a taste of some of them, especially with the powers.
Right.
The only, I haven't seen the entire deck. The only one I've seen so far is the light control. So I'm like, what would strength look like, weaponry and stuff?
Right. Yeah. No, that should be pretty cool.
And also, in particular, because I find it hilarious that your archetype is the card on the power surge.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. So I'm like, am I going to see the cyborg with weaponry and stuff?
Yeah, so all that is good, and it does the cooperative thing really well.
And it's not you're thinking like, when you play Sentinels, you're like, oh, we should play with this hero because he can heal, or that. You don't think like that. You are thinking like a villain. Like, you have basic actions. You're just like, how do I pull myself really ahead? And how can I maybe help Jonathan enough to take advantage of him? No, really, that's you saying it. You're the manipulator.
That's right. You'll never know what you really think when I'm around. So that is Villains and Henchmen from Ravendale Publishing on Kickstarter. If it's not anymore, seek it out elsewhere. But we recommend that you take a look and see if you like it.
Yeah.
So we think it's cool.
Another great addition to the superhero lineup in board games.
That's right. There aren't all that many compared to some other genres that are taking.
Well, compared
over.
to the movie thing, it's just sort of.
Yeah, it's out there. So check it out. We'll have the link below. Otherwise, Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been a Roll for Crit Kickstarter preview.